Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Pitt County Department of Social Service. This is Tuesday, November 12th, 2019, and we will begin the meeting by observing a moment of silent prayer or meditation. Okay, thank you. So do we have any public comments, Susan? Okay, so no public comments, so we'll move on to today's agenda. And I'd like a motion to adopt or revise today's agenda.
Move to approve.
Could I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. We actually have, Jan's reminded me, we have 2 sets of previous minutes that we need to approve today. You have those in your packet. If you take a look at those and they look
So
okay.
move for both of them.
Okay, and again, second.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to turn this over to Jan, and we're going to do some service award recognition and an introduction of new staff, and she can lead us into this.
Okay. So this is a month that we had a significant number, or quarter that we had a significant number of folks receiving service awards. Not everybody can be present because lots of times they are out doing what they're supposed to be doing and can't get away. So those that are here, we'll be excited to introduce them to you and let you get faces and names together. So the 5-year group I will call, and if y'all can, would you like them to come forward, or you want them just to stand, or how would you like to do that, sir?
What's the pleasure of the group? Have them come forward?
Come forth.
Okay.
Come forth. Maybe stand, introduce them, and they can stand as a group, and we can recognize.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tyanda Catino, and I always mess up your last name. So she has 5 years with us, and she does a lot of economic services work and is one of our good folks there. Christina Futrell, who is one of our attorneys, I don't believe is present today. Lavetta Grady, I believe, said she could not be with us. She's in economic services. Elise, I always do this wrong, Lawrence Durham. Elsie Lawrence Durham, yep.
Shaking your head.
Yeah, yep. She's not here right now, so we'll move on. She's in child welfare. Tiffany Mitchell, come on down.
No?
Yep, okay. Lisa Park. Lisa's one of our adult services supervisors, and she's took on a leadership role with our family event that we had recently.
I
So
remember.
she
Yeah,
was
thank you for doing
she
that.
was one of the co-chairs of that. Lydia Randolph. Here comes Lydia. Okay. Amy Rogers. And I don't see David, so David Sparks. Lynette Strickland. I see Lynette. Yeah, there she is back there. And Michelle Williams. And I was the other 5-year person. So, so we are thrilled to have all these folks. 5 years ago, we were going through a lot here at Pitt DSS. This is when all of NC FAST and the Medicaid and food stamps had just kind of ended its thing, and Medicaid was going wild at that point. So we are happy to have you folks with us, and I know the board would like to.
So this is kind of a new tradition for us. We kind of thought it would be nice to recognize in terms of celebrate, rather, in terms of situations like this. And we just wanted to thank you for your service. And 5 years is as I say, we want to thank you for your service. And we greatly appreciate it.
Congratulations.
We have a 10-year person who is not with us today. That would be Julia Petrasso, who is our lead attorney. Julia is busy doing attorney work. Our 15-year folks are Retha Albritton, and I don't see Retha in here in child welfare. Retha's going to be here next month. It's a retirement, so you're going to get to see her several times or see her name. Lorinda Mason. I don't see Lorinda back there. And Beth Woolard. Beth is with us. Beth is our paralegal. And so these are our 15-year folks.
Thank you, Beth.
And 20 years, we have Evelyn Braddock in childcare. Evelyn's not with us this afternoon either. She's busy doing childcare stuff. So want to congratulate her. And then our 30-year person, and there is a 30-year person, and that would be Michelle McCorkle.
Oh, Michelle. Congratulations, Michelle.
Congratulations.
Thank y'all. So we had a good list this time.
Absolutely.
yeah.
I think they all deserve another applause
They
here.
do.
Thank you very much.
They're wonderful. So we have new staff who are getting ready to embark on their trip with DSS. And starting this month would be Debbie Rotano. And Debbie's sort of new and sort of not new. Debbie was here for a while and then escaped and is now coming back. So we want to welcome Debbie. She started October 21st, and I'll let you tell a little bit about
Yeah, Debbie,
yourself and what you're doing.
I started here in 2014, Adjourn, and I stayed for 2 years, and then I went to Barrows County, kind of closer to family, and did not like it there.
Hallelujah for
And I
us.
came back to Greenville a year after I left, but I couldn't get back on board, and now I'm back on board.
And you're doing?
I'm working with Thomas Knight in the QIS section. I'm going to be working with the VEERS report and the FRR reports.
She's in that new position that we got this year to help with getting all those reports processed.
All right.
So we're
Welcome
excited to
home.
have
We're
her.
glad you're back. Thank you.
That's right.
And you can sit down. You don't have to stand. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
Need to come to the podium.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Okay. And, now, this is, I have tests sometimes with names. Asa Eason?
No?
No,
Out doing the work.
that's right. She's in training probably. Alicia Caesar? And why don't you come to the podium, and that way everybody can hear you when you speak.
That way they can't say they never appeared and spoke before.
That's right, that's right. So we want to welcome her. You just started October 21st, and you want to tell them a little bit about where you came from and what you're doing?
I was working in Edgecombe County. I was the CAP supervisor there. Loved my job, but then it was it was time for me to do something different. So I stay in Greenville. So I've been traveling now for quite a few years, and it feels really good to be home. It feels good that I'm only 10 minutes from work now, as in comparison to 45 to an hour drive, and it feels really good. And thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to come and work here.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for,
Tell them what you're doing.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I work with Adult Protective Services.
So, a
thanks
great
for-
need.
Thanks for what you do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So apparently, we've been really interested in hiring people whose first name starts with A. And so our next person is Alicia Spicer, and she started November the 4th. So come on down.
Hi, my name is Alicia Spicer, and I used to work for Pitt County Government at the Mental Health Center. But I'm coming from Caswell Developmental Center. I live here in Greenville, so this is a plus for me. I'm only 5 minutes away. So I'm glad to be here, and I'll be working in Adult Protective Services.
Well, we're welcome, and we're glad you're here too. Thank you very much.
Welcome aboard.
Okay. So our last new person is Tracy, is it Bodie or Body? Body. I always get confused on those two. So come tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Tracy Body. I will be doing intake for adult Medicaid, and I used to work here as well. Now I'm back.
Well, welcome back.
Thank you, and thank y'all for having me back.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You all have something in common. That's right.
Short. We're both short. That's right. So we want to welcome all of y'all. We're excited to have you.
And let's give them applause too. Okay, well, that's, again, setting a little tradition here. That's nice. Okay, we're going to move into items of report, and we're going to hear about holiday cheer.
So I think Nikki's coming forward first.
All right. Good afternoon. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
All right, so I'm here this afternoon to talk with you a little bit about our adult foster holiday project. So in adult services, in our guardianship, and our adult home specialist, or our adult home care unit, we have the 2 adult home specialists who help oversee the adult care homes here in Pitt County. And with that, we have our project to try and get many of those individuals sponsored for our Christmas cheer program. So I think I have this. Sorry, Susan. This one? Okay. And just hit that one. Okay. All right, so the holidays are on the way. We know that Christmas is just around the corner. Everybody's going to be happy and excited. We're going to start hearing about what everybody's wishes are and what their wants are. But are we thinking about our elderly or disabled residents who reside in our adult and family care homes? There are many individuals who are disabled, who live in our adult care homes, who are without loved ones to support them or maybe even provide for them. And then that's where we come in. They only receive only receive $66 a month to be able to purchase medications, personal items, and with those personal items, toothpaste, deodorant, soap, clothing, all their essential needs outside of the care that is given to them in those adult care homes. Oftentimes their medication costs or their copays can eat up some of that $66, so it really doesn't leave them with a lot to be able to get the things that they need. Pitt County Department of Social Services is legally responsible for many adults from age 18 and up who reside in a lot of these adult care home and family care homes. We have many of these individuals under our guardianship here, and they may also be without supportive family or have limited income to support their basic needs. So our agency relies greatly on the community for support in assisting us with providing some of the needed items to residents and some of our persons that we serve under guardianship in facilities. After the holiday seasons have passed, if we get donations and if we have anything left, any items or monetary donations left over are used throughout the year to replenish the supply of either the hygiene, clothing, medical supplies, medical services, or any of their unmet needs that may arise throughout the year. So we do this project now, but anything that comes up throughout the year, it allows us the opportunity to be able to continue to help them because often they may not have the money to be able to get, the special shampoo or the soap or the things it is that they want to be able to have. So what can you do to help? We're here to get the word out, to be able to seek sponsors for individuals, and you can purchase items off of their wish list. So a lot of the times they'll provide things, some of the things that they need, and then some of the things that they may put up there that they actually, may be a want of theirs. You can gather a group of friends, family, or a civic group to help someone need. We can match you up with a facility or a person, individual person, and you'd be welcome to go to the facility to be able to drop those gifts off. All right. So some of the things that we need, just some general items such as toiletries, socks, lotion, snacks, undergarments. You can also make a monetary contribution that will help fill the gaps for some of the things. Sometimes we get people that will sponsor people individually, but they may not have been able to meet the entire list. We can take some of the monetary donations that we get and continue to fulfill that person's wish list. For monetary donations for the project, it can be mailed to here to us at Pitt County DSS. You can put attention the Adult Foster Holiday Project, and it'll come here for us to be able to have, so that way we can put it towards our fund to be able to go out and get some of the things that are needed for them. So if you know anybody or if you're interested in sponsoring someone, if you have any questions, you can get in touch with either myself, I'm Lisa Park, also go by Nikki, or either Tammy Corbett or Jennifer Stroud, who are also present. You can raise your hand.
Stand up so
Yeah.
folks can see the elves.
That's right. There are two elves. They do a lot in the month of December, or November and December, of getting everything together and rounded up and getting those things delivered to the individuals in the adult and family care homes. So if you guys have any questions, I'd be willing to answer anything that you have. Or if I missed anything, feel free to fill in. If you ladies have anything maybe that I need to add, just let me know.
I have a question, Lisa.
Yes, ma'am.
In the past, this is not the first time I know you've done that. Do you contact previous donors or just let them know when it's coming up and when you like to receive it, or you just wait for everyone to contact you?
We send up follow-up letters yearly. So if someone donated to us the previous year, we reach back out to them and say, thank you for your continued support. We're starting this program back up. It's that time of the year again. If you would like to sponsor an individual or a facility, please reach back out to us. And those letters went out about 2 weeks ago. So we're starting to get some of the phone calls and the emails trickling in for getting people sponsored.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions for Lisa? If not, well, thank you for
All
doing
right,
this.
thank you. Thank you for your time.
Okay, next on our items for report, we're going to hear from Joy about adoption awareness.
Well, she's going to talk first, I think, about her holiday cheer project, so we'll get that
Oh.
one done first,
Oh,
yeah.
I see. Sorry.
We have two of them.
Gotcha. Got that now.
Good afternoon. How are you all doing?
Good afternoon.
I'm here today to talk about the Foster Children's Christmas program. It's been called Holiday Cheer probably since the 1970s. It's been a program where we provide Christmas gifts for the children who are in our legal and physical custody of the agency. Oh, well. The Pitt County Department of Social Services is starting to make Christmas plans for the foster children for whom we have legal custody. We must rely on donations from generous citizens like you to be sure that each of these children will receive a visit from Santa and have a happy holiday. There are 3 ways that you can help. You can provide help by providing financial donations, and you also can sponsor a child by purchasing items off their individual wish list that the social workers work with the foster parents and the children to compose, or you can purchase new toys or clothing items. And so we've got different people around our community who have, over the years, provided for these things. We have, for 2 years now, we've had a great partner in this program called Project ELF, and it's Dr. Susan Schmidt and her husband Kevin Schmidt, and they are working together. Lots of sponsors. I think they are sponsoring at this point almost 80 children on our of the 212 that we have in custody. And also we have other sponsors like different companies and churches and groups at Biden who have historically provided sponsorship of children. We do use the financial donations. You may ask, what do we use for those for? We do purchase gift cards for our teens who are 13 and older, just because teens like to pick out their own items for Christmas. And so this is what those donations are used for. Also, just like with the adult program, anything that's left over, we do use for special needs for foster children throughout the year that may not be covered through Medicaid or through, other programs. And we do currently, that's an estimate. October was a big month in foster care. We got a lot of new children. But at the preparing of this, we had 212 youth that were in the legal responsibility and that we will be providing Christmas for this year. And if you want to send donations or contributions, you can send it to this address and to the attention of the Foster Care Special Needs and Holiday Fund. And for more information, feel free to contact me at my email address or at the number provided here. And do you have any questions for me?
Questions for Joy?
And we just talk about thank you for all, for sharing the true meaning of Christmas with our children. And we call them our children because they are here in Pitt County, and we all feel a responsibility for meeting their needs.
Well, thanks for doing that, Joy. Yes.
Thank you.
Joy, let me ask, in case somebody at home wants to know, if they want to sponsor a child and find out what a child needs, reach out to your telephone number or email address, since that's what was on the screen.
Yes, that's right, and we try to match those up as quickly as we can. Just today, I had another local church that said they wanted to do sponsorship or a generic new toy drive, because what we do with the generic new toys is fill in the gaps too, because sometimes the sponsor may not be able to get everything on the list, and we try to sort of evenly distribute, the gifts for the children 12 and younger.
Is there any duplication with support because there are other programs that's in the community?
Will we just do the foster children? I know that sometimes I'll get calls from groups or families who are in need of Christmas, and we have in the last few years been referring all of them to the Salvation Army, so there would not be a duplication, so they would keep a roster. I'm not sure exactly if that's what's being done this year, but this program here just focuses on the needs of the foster children.
And Toys for Tots and those
Yeah.
other programs would
Yeah.
not be giving to the
No.
foster children.
That's one of the reasons I asked the
I got
question,
you.
so that the general public know that we're not duplicating. And Pitt County is a very large county, and it's known as one of the, ongoing poverty, economically poor counties. And so to spread it out is better than all of us giving to the same. That's my reason for bringing that out, so the public would know.
And it is,
give
sometimes there's some
generously.
questions about, foster children. Foster stipend, we only have family foster homes, and it does not provide anything extra for the holidays. And this is how this program started in the 70s, is saying that we wanted to assist our families or the placement providers who are caring for these children so that they will have a nice Christmas.
Any more questions for Joy? Okay, well, thanks.
Okay.
And I guess you're gonna stay up there, and we're gonna roll into adoption awareness then.
Yes, November
Okay.
is, I want to say one thing too, I forgot to mention about the holiday cheer, is that we do have an internal fundraiser, and I want to say thank you to all my co-workers who have supported what we call the Jingle Bell Jeans. This is a fundraiser where they can deposit, pay $25 that goes towards the funding for this program to help support the gift card program for the teens in particular. And so I want to thank them because they did a great job this year with supporting that program.
They get to wear blue jeans one day a week.
Oh, they do?
We like to wear jeans around here when we can. But November is National Adoption Awareness Month, and it is a month that we want to celebrate our adoptive families. I'm very happy to say that Pitt County has completed many adoptions this year and are going to have many more to complete. As of today, we got words that before the end of this month, since July to November 30th, we'll have 24 children who we will have final adoption decrees on, which is the largest number I have, since I've worked here in the 16 years I've been in Pitt County. That's the largest number I've heard of. Actually, and so we're probably will be closer to 29 in December, because we know that we're going to finalize a few more in December. So this is a large number, and that we just our court system now, we're able to get termination of parental rights when there's, when there's no other, permanent plan that would be better for the child. And so we are able to move forward with that. So what we're going to do this year is we're going to have an adoption celebration dinner. It will be a week from today on November the 19th. It will be held at Cornerstone Missionary Baptist Church. And we have invited our pool of foster parents here at Pitt County, because many of our agency adoptions are we are matched up with our foster parents that have cared for them in their home. So many, of the adoptive parents are both foster and adoptive parents. So we're inviting them, as well as any other parent over the last 3 years that we have worked with that has finalized an adoption with an agency child.
What is that date again?
Tuesday, November 19th. And I don't know if you've received them, but you guys are invited to attend this. And we also, that night, we're going to have a guest speaker, Laura Strabley. She is the director of the Carolina Pregnancy Center here, but she's also an adoptive parent, and she's going to talk about her adoption journey and her experiences working. And we actually work with her through the ICPC office in Raleigh.
Explain ICPC.
Interstate Compact on the Placement of Children. That's when a child is maybe in custody of another state, and they are wanting us to assist by either doing a home study on a family here in North Carolina, or in this case, an adoptive home study. And then we will continue to monitor that child in that placement until a final decree is or a permanent plan is secured for that child. So-
What time is the event?
It starts at 6:30, and it will end at 8 p.m. And we are having a Thanksgiving menu for a nice dinner. So we hope that we'll see some of you guys if you're able to attend. We would love for you to be there.
Is there any way of determining why the adoption rate, I'm not saying it's bad, it's really good, but whatever it is, you might can add to it a little bit so that we can ease that pain. Is there a way of tracking or knowing what caused the burst of adoption?
I will say we have had large sibling groups this year. We've had sibling groups of 5. We've had sibling groups of 3 and 4 that when the court created them to be legally, acted either through TPR or through relinquishment of the parents, they became legally clear for adoption, that we were able to move forward. And so we've had some families who have been able to adopt 3 children at a time into their home. And so that's a big undertaking.
And that keeps from splitting up the children too.
Yes,
You- you
yes.
three
We try not
brothers
to
and
if we can
sisters or
prevent
whatever.
it, yes.
That's good, that's good, that sounds good.
So we are celebrating our families. Also, I don't know if you've noticed on Highway 11, we've got a sign, on the digital sign that's promoting Pitt County DSS become a foster or adoptive parent as part of our recruitment efforts for fostering and adoption. So we are always looking for new families because we always, the state mandates that we have a pool of available families for these children if that does become their plan, adoption. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Joy. Okay. So we're going to move on here, and we're going to hear from Ms. Elliott, the annual report that we have copies of today.
Right. Hot off the press, and I think I gave mine away, so,
I think I stole it here.
oh, is that what happened to it? Okay, so, we are excited to have the annual report for you this year. Like I said, it is hot off the press. We will, not follow the along exactly, we're gonna hit some of the high spots of it. We try to tell our story as well as give you a little bit of data, but not make it so focused on the data. And it's also a way to help the community know some of the things that we do with families in Pitt County to help support the citizens of this county. And so certainly our purpose here at DSS is to improve the lives of Pitt County citizens. And we feel like we do it in 3 different ways: help families build capacity to meet their own needs and developing community solutions, and providing resources for those families as they go through crisis. We always have those other services that are specific around those crises and family needs. That would be things such as Medicaid, food, nutrition services, protective services for children and adults. And we spend a lot of time, we don't do it by ourselves, we spend a lot of time developing relationships and partnerships in the community to help work towards those solutions. And here's some examples this year of some of the things that we did in the community to kind of bring folks together and to develop those partnerships, because all these folks, we had 33 exhibitors, all these exhibitors now, we have even a stronger relationship with. So this gives you a little sense of what that was like. Other things that we did this year are on the next slide, and these are just a few of the things that we happen to have a few pictures with. But the foster care event at Great Harvest Bread, I know all of y'all are well aware of that. And then we do job fairs on a regular basis. We help with Red Cross sheltering. So these are just some of our partnerships and some of the events that we do each year to help the community. Certainly, we can't do anything without some good, strong financial management. As you will see in a minute, we have a significant amount of money that we are responsible for, and we take that role very seriously. And so it's important that we manage that, and that has to be part of everything that we do, and to keep the agency solvent and for our own good health to manage those dollars well. So we want to make sure that we're offering a helping hand, not just a handout. So we are working hard to support opportunities for client education and employment. We want to make sure that those tax dollars that Pitt County citizens are paying out come back to Pitt County to support the services that we need here in Pitt County. And we want to also certainly prevent fraud, waste, any of those kinds of things. So we're doing that by making sure that we make good decisions, accurate decisions. We're trying to have efficient operations. And then certainly if there are any unauthorized benefits, we work to recover those benefits. So now, where does each dollar come from? And as I said, we have a significant impact on the economy. We do bring a lot of taxes back to Pitt County. As you can see, $321 million, or 92% of the funds that we use or expend come from federal and state taxes. Collections and donations, that includes some of what child support does. We don't spend that money, but child support collects over $15 million that is then reinvested to the families that they're serving. So we want to recognize and acknowledge that contribution. There are other kinds of donations that run through our budget, but that's the big contribution. And then the county taxes account for about 3% or $10 million of the dollars that we spend each year. That's kind of how the dollars, where they come from, and now you'll see where the dollars go on the next slide. The bulk of it goes to Medicaid, as you would not be surprised to hear. About $236 million, or 68% of our funds that we're responsible for generating the eligibility for are spent here locally with our doctors and our hospitals and our other medical providers. Our food and nutrition program, again, about $48 million, or about 14% of those dollars are spent in our local grocery stores. And, other places that do accept EBT to support our families and make sure that they have, food on the table. Again, we still have a lot of folks with food insecurity, and we want to do everything we can to help from that standpoint. Child support, again, is a little over $15 million that's collected and given to the custodial parent from the absent parent to support children as they should be. Early education or child daycare is between $9 and $10 million each year. This is our child care program. I strongly believe it is early education, because if you have children in good quality daycare, they are definitely getting a start towards being able to be productive at school when they get there. So, and then there are a variety of other things. Foster care, adoption, administration, adult and child protective services is lumped into the other programs. So that's about $40 million. So that gives you a sense of kind of how the dollars are spent that are available to this department. So as we said, we're working with the community to solve problems, and we have to address the current challenges as well as the upcoming challenges. And so here's where I'm going to start getting into some of the data. Foster care, child care, all those kinds of things are what we're talking about right now. You can see that our foster care caseload has more than doubled during the past 6 years. And you can just imagine the various family problems that are driving that increase. What I can say is that we had started a downward trend and had gotten below 200, but during the month of October, we had close to 20 children come into care. So that took us back up over the 200 mark. And these children were, the types of cases we're seeing are more and more serious child abuse, and seriously troubled children. So it's very, very traumatizing for the staff to deal with these kinds of cases. But that's why we're so focused on trying to do a variety of things around trauma-focused therapy. We've got a lot of our staff involved in training with that. We have several projects going that Gwen's very much involved with, and y'all heard about those a couple of months ago. So our next slide showing kind of what's going on is if you look at the foster care demand at the state level and here in Pitt County, and you look at foster children per 10,000 population, you can see that Pitt County, the state has seen an uptick too, but you can see that Pitt County is above what's going on with the state between 2012 and 2019. The demand for childcare or early education continues to grow. You can see that our numbers enrolled have gone down, while the numbers on the waiting list have gone up. We're right at 1,900 on the waiting list right now. Just below that, as you can see, and this has been the trend for a while. Our families, not just low-income families, but some of our lower middle-income families need help with childcare. And it's critical for those folks to be able to work outside the home. When childcare eats a significant amount of your income, it is difficult for parents to balance. But our low-income parents for sure need this help. We want them to work, they want to work, but when the cost of childcare is more than you're earning, it's very hard to manage that without some help. And the dollars are just not growing as fast as the needs are. So it's an economic issue and it's an education issue for the children. Okay.
Jan, do we see, do we see the same pattern across the state?
You're gonna see it.
Okay.
You can see where North Carolina is seeing a decrease in enrolled and an increase in waiting list. So this is a statewide trend. Granted, things like More at 4 and some of those kinds of programs certainly are helping children, but you know, they're part-time kinds of programs, not full-time childcare. So both are important, I think, for the citizens that we are serving and the families in the state. Now, if you look at Medicaid, our population enrolled in Medicaid, you can see that we've had significant increase over the last 5 years. It's increased by about a third. And as that increase occurs, our potential risk for errors obviously increases too. So we are pleased that we got through this audit that was just completed, and we had one finding, and that finding, we don't know what the dollar amount is. There may not be a dollar amount at all because it was only one expenditure that was in error. So we are very pleased that with all the cases that we work with, that to only have one error identified, and they pull several hundred cases. Now, the other thing you need to know is that Medicaid is being audited by everybody. The state auditor is going to be doing her own audit. You have the regular single audit going on, and then the state by law has been told that they have to audit 200, the state division has to audit 200 cases a year in every county. So we will not be, they're doing it over a period of 3 years because they don't have the staff to do that degree of audit. So we will be audited not this year, but next year, and they will pull 20 cases a month. So that will be a third review that we will be going through. And then the fourth review is that the federal folks are also doing a review of us. So we need staff to handle just the reviews now. It's getting so complicated.
Here's my question. Are they auditing the same things?
They're auditing the same programs. They're not necessarily auditing the same cases.
Okay.
So the more cases you can look at, obviously the more chance that you'll find a mistake.
Okay, so for the state audit, the feds are pulling a different case.
They're pulling different cases.
So the legislation is driving the audits?
The legislation is driving a part of those audits, yes, because in the law that was passed 2-3 years ago, the state auditor had done a huge audit of North Carolina Medicaid program during the implementation of NC FAST and found a significant number in the 10 counties that they audited of errors, significant number. And so there was a report to the legislature that said basically that the counties were not doing a good job in managing the Medicaid dollars. that they were authorizing people. Well, at that particular point in time, we weren't even able to get reviews done, and so you were having cases that had not been reviewed, being reviewed by the auditor, and obviously, if they're not being reviewed, the potential for errors go up. So that then drove the legislation, and that said that the county departments of social services would be responsible for 100% of any error that was found in any case. It required the state to do the audit of 200 cases per county. It also had some training requirements in it, so that drove that. Now, the state auditor does not necessarily believe that the county audit firms are getting at everything that they need to get at, and so that's why she's doing her additional audit, so.
Jan, what do these audits look like? Do they actually send people here? Or-
They're doing most of it via the internet now, because we're in NC Fast, they can pull it up. Now, the county single audit is done on-site. They will come in and actually pull the cases and sit down with the staff to go through them.
When I've gone to commissioners' meetings, and we kept asking as commissioners about data, and where was it coming from? Who was pulling it? And we could not get straight answers. I'd like to share that with you, because they're making laws relating to this, but yet you can't get the data for it. And that sort of causes me a little concern. I get especially when they're talking about fining the county. So, and this is what the commissioners have been, have a beef about. Maybe that's a better word, better than gripe.
And all this auditing is why some counties have gone and bought insurance, to try and help cover any errors that might occur. We've looked at that. For a county our size, insurance would be about $85,000, and it would have a $10,000 deductible per case, and so, or per error. And so at this point, we have decided not to buy insurance.
Because it didn't not happen the bankroll in it. The next thing is that NC Fast, what about the bugs, the worms, and the crickets
The bugs, the worms, and the
as
crickets
it relates to data?
are still there. They're working on them. They're working hard to try and get a lot of that addressed. The data and that's why you're not seeing with the MOU some of the reports, because they're still trying to get them to be accurate. And so we have about I think it's 13 that they believe are accurate at this point of the indicators, the reports. So there are 13 more they're still working on. What I will say too is that there is some data that's coming from other locations that are not necessarily part of NC Fast. So, for example, the state now has a child protection plan that they want to work on, and that is, and I may not be using the correct term, but they're gonna have front-facing data on that, and in fact, next month I wanna present some of that information to you, because the data on that went live today, so that everybody can go out and look and see, and it's looking not just at child welfare, it's looking at the welfare of children in a particular county and in the state, and trying to move the indicator forward so that you are getting better outcomes for children.
I can do better reading data, and I can see it, you know. But that's what concerns me about the thing with the NC Fast. Thank you,
Yes.
thank you,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, so anybody else got any other questions about Medicaid? You can see that our percent of population enrolled in Medicaid is higher than that of North Carolina as a whole, and I think there's a variety of reasons, one of which is the poverty factor in Pitt County. And we still have a fair number of children in Pitt County, and the children are very much a part of this.
What about the growth rate of the population itself? Are you able to keep up with it, other than who's born at the hospital? That's sort of, how about the growth as it relates to who comes to the school for the first time. You know, those are datas that
Right.
booster that population.
Right, and
So are
Pitt
you
County
able to
population.
get that?
Well, you know, Pitt County population is growing, and certainly we can, and we're very interested in making sure that we get all the counts that we need to get for the new census that's getting ready to come and get everybody counted. You know, we know who's born at the hospital, you are right. We don't necessarily know everybody that comes to the school, unless they come to us or unless somebody gives us a call and says, you need to go out and talk to so-and-so. But you know, you're seeing that growth in that chart, and part of that is folks moving into Pitt County.
Yeah.
Part of it, and this is the fact that Pitt County population is aging and is going to even age faster. And if you look at this, you can see that by 2030, the population's kind of going to flip a little bit. We're going to be having more older folk than younger folk before long. And you can see that the 85 and older range is going to increase by 40% in this period of time, which will drive some of our programs.
I want to, at this time, compliment on the slides and the information that's on the television. Now, my next, on the screens, because that means it's, my question is it public accessible? Because a lot of time, if the public can go into this online and look at some of the data, then they can be a bit more cooperative maybe, or whatever. So is this available, because you can look at the county commissioners'
Right.
meetings
Right.
just by clicking on the date.
Right. This document will be posted, the document itself will be posted on our website,
Okay.
which has a lot of the information that is on these slides.
Okay.
We can certainly put these slides on the website, which might be very helpful to some folks to see those slides. You won't have the dialogue to go with it, but you would have the information.
I'm thinking too, it may help our business recruitment and industry, and as well as economic growth as well, if it's available and you can just look at it. Because I'm not a between-the-line reader, and if you're looking at something, you can sort of make some assessment a little better if you have something to look at.
Right, and we will be taking this to the commissioners' meeting, I think it's in December, to do our annual report for the commissioners, so we will have this up there then too, so. But yeah, we can certainly do that.
So Jan, this information about older adults, which we're all gonna be falling into, I guess, at some point.
I'm already there.
So, do we work closely with the Council on Aging?
We
for-
do work
for-
a lot
for
with the
of that,
Council on
To
Aging.
address some of those issues and maybe their programming to align with our programming?
We do work a lot with Council on Aging. I would say some of the things that we do, for example, we have the Home and Community Care Block Grant funds for in-home services. We refer folks back and forth, and Cynthia's back there if she wants to jump in. We work back and forth. They'll refer to us, we refer to them. But and we also are involved with the adult daycare program, some. So there are lots of places that we cross. They serve a somewhat different population, in that our folks tend to be less affluent, maybe, not that their folks are real affluent, but maybe have more access to transportation and to resources than, and some of the services that they provide, you know, are more social kinds of services and less direct hands-on services. But Cynthia, anything you want to add to that? Okay. So-
LEAP, we do a lot with the LEAP program.
Yes,
too.
yes. Well, yeah, they certainly will help us with their Meals on Wheels folks, with the low-income energy program. So that's another place we
And see
cross
that-
over.
And then other agencies can look at this. That's why I'm asking, because I'm glad you're willing to do that.
We can certainly do that.
Yeah.
Susan now has her marching orders. Put this slideshow on the website
Yeah.
along with the report, because we've
There-
already ready to do the report.
You were reading my mind, Mary. The quality of this report is very good.
Yeah.
And the slides are very good too, Jan. Very,
We can thank Kevin
Very
Kreischer
well
for
done.
that. Kevin takes care of that for me.
Well, thank you. I mean,
It's very well
leadership
done.
means
And
something.
Carla does the
It
report.
says a lot for your vision. I see it here.
The PIO office here helps with the development and design of the report, so I just say, oh yeah, that's good. Give them a little input. So, okay,
Compliments help.
okay, thank you. And anytime anybody's got a question, just, you know, about any of that, let me know, and we'll try and get the data for you. Okay, so what's going on? Let's talk first about I guess you're all ready to move the report, right? I
Move
just
on to-
moved right on.
move on to
'cause
the
I
director's
know we're getting
report.
close. Okay, so I just want to hit that we are getting ready to start the low-income energy assistance program. We will start December 1 with those folks that are 60 and older, or if they are disabled, receiving SSI, Social Security, or VA disability, and receiving services through the Division of Aging and Adult Services, which would be things like the Council on Aging. Anybody else can start applying January 1. We will stop taking applications March 31 for all groups, or when the money runs out. So I wanted to make sure that folks were aware of, and we will next month actually have this on the screen, but that the Bethel Resource Outreach Center, Last Days Harvest Church of God in Christ, Community Fellowship Ministry Church, Northern Pitt Improvement Association, St. John Missionary Baptist Church, Pactola's Community Resource Center, St. Rest United Holy Church have all agreed to be our partners this year. So we will have folks in Winterville, we will have folks in Greenville, Stokes, out in the Bethel area, Farmville. We've got folks scattered in all those locations who can help take applications for folks. We will process them. The training for the groups that are going to help us are November 21 and 22, and then they'll be ready to roll. Our staff are starting to come on board and get trained next week, so we'll be good to go. What I can say is that certainly we can always take more partners if there's some folks who hear this and would be interested in offering the ability to take applications. We'd welcome them. Each of these different groups, they're not open 8 to 5. They have their own time frames. We will have that posted with you next month as well as on our website. And we'll do a press release. But what I would say is if anybody wants to call before we get all that out there, call the location and they can probably tell you when they're going to be able to take applications. But there are a huge impact on getting folks the service they need without folks having to travel as far. So it's really wonderful. We do appreciate it.
At what time?
That would be something that you should have gotten an email about. Let's see, 9:30.
Government Circle.
Government Circle. Check with Brian if you have a question about that.
I saw it, but.
Okay, yeah. So, the search for Gwen's replacement, Gwen who cannot be replaced, but the search for the person who is going to sit in her office and do great things, just like Gwen has been doing. We did meet with the firm this past Friday. Our management team spent some time with them answering questions and giving feedback on what they were looking for. I think they did say they wanted someone like Gwen who could walk on water. At least, yeah, and I think that literally was what the lady came and said to me. They want somebody who can walk on water. But they are working hard on getting that put together. They spent some time with me. They have drafted what they believe they heard. And we're responding to that now to make sure that we agree that they heard what they thought they heard. But we're moving right along, and hopefully we'll be getting an advertisement out shortly. So that's what's going on with that. Anybody got any questions about that? Okay. Medicaid transformation, oh well. I put some information in my written document, as you know, on October 14th. If you had a chance to look at that, our outreach specialist came on board. He has been very busy. He has now been promoted. He's been doing so well. And so we have a new outreach specialist coming this week. She will be very good too, I'm sure. She's been working in Beaufort County, and they did not want her to leave. I know that the first week he enrolled about 100 families, so he was staying pretty busy. Pitt County right now has as of October 31, had 594 people enrolled. I can see that both for the doctors and for the participants, Healthy Blue is one of the ones that folks are most interested in, the doctors and the participants. I will say that WellCare, I believe, is getting a fair number of folks as far as the doctors who are signing up. So those are the two most popular. Obviously, all of them are getting some, but those are the two most popular. We are getting a report on we got our first report, the other day, so we're gonna be getting reports from the state as to how many are enrolled, from Pitt County on some basis, maybe weekly, what they haven't said. The couple of issues that obviously are still out there for us, regarding Medicaid transformation is that we don't have a lot of physicians signed up, so that's a critical issue for us. A lot of the big ones are not signed up. And what I will also say is our transportation providers are not signing up to provide transportation with the companies. I think we have one transportation provider out of 12, last I heard. Angela, anything since then? No, that has agreed to provide transportation through the transportation broker. So those are two things that are concerning. This may or may not be an issue, as there is no budget to do Medicaid transformation, because it was vetoed. So November the 15th is what the secretary has said is when the budget has to be approved for this to go forward. I don't know where that stands or how that will go at this point. There does not seem to be interest or sufficient numbers to override the veto for the full budget, and the mini budget that was passed to do Medicaid transformation was also vetoed, so I don't know if there's sufficient numbers to do that. The Senate has gone home, but they will come back on the 13th, but that is primarily to do redistricting. So it is wait and see. We are moving forward as though it is going forward. That's all I can say. December 14th is the auto enrollment date, so we will see.
This transportation, because my district is so large, and the economic level is a concern, and not having it is serious.
Right.
Because people do have to get to their doctor's appointments and everything. What backup plan? Did you read my mind?
I do. We have that question on a regular basis, and it's not so much that we don't have, it's not the question about do we have enough providers, although that is one of the questions. The other issue for us is since the new transportation brokers that are being contracted with to provide and arrange the not actually provide, but to arrange the transportation, are not local folk, and so the idea of issuing a voucher to somebody, let's say I need to take my child to Chapel Hill and I'll need to spend the night. So I've got to pay for gas, got to pay for a hotel room, I've got to pay for meals, I've got to pay for parking, assuming I have a vehicle to go in. What we've been doing pretty much is giving them, cash for the car, so we filled up the tank, we've given them some money for food and parking and, that kind of thing. The transportation brokers are a little leery of doing that. They want to reimburse. And so that will be very difficult for some of our folk to manage a reimbursement process. So that's where we've had a lot of the conversation about the backup plan. What happens if they say, I can't get there unless you give me cash? Who's going to do it? And if the counties do it, there is some debate as to whether we will be reimbursed or not. So that's one of the big points of argument.
So those questions still...
Those are still unanswered
those are
questions.
Still unanswered,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That is one of the, I'm on the statewide committee, and that is one of the things that we've argued about at length is how transportation is going to work and support the families that we need to support.
This is one of the reasons I asked you to address this at that breakfast meeting with Senator Davis and Representative Smith, was that even though I was sick at the time, but I've heard a lot of talk about it since, and they were happy with the bags and the information that you gave, but it does not resolve or solve the questions that we have in mind. Now, it's a serious matter because if they can't get there, life depends on it.
Right.
So-
And the providers depend on it because they're being paid based on outcomes. So if people aren't keeping their appointments, their health is not going to be good, and so the providers are going to struggle with that too. So
It's a double-edged
it's a
sword.
double-edged sword, and I do believe we will get there, but it is taking a significant amount of effort on everybody's part. It's just, it's a work in progress, is what I can tell you. And we still got till February to get this work in progress handled, because we don't go live till February, assuming we go live. We've still got a few months to continue to fight the battle. So. Anything else on Medicaid transformation? There's not much on the MOU to talk about, so that's why I've taken it off until we get a report. The Medicaid application processing, we continue to have outstanding people doing outstanding work. We are timely with that. And so I just need to thank them. You have that chart, which shows you, that we were, above the goal line every place. So unless you've got questions, I won't talk any more about that. Staff do great jobs. And then if you look at our vacancy report, you can see we've hired a lot of people. I was looking the other day, and this was, I think, before this last one was written, we've hired 13 people in economic services alone in the last 2 months. So we've hired a lot of people. We have a lot of folks that are, coming in the door. We have, I think every position will be posted as of this week. Is that correct, Susan? Because we are unfreezing the adult services position. So every position is in some phase of posting, interviewing, advertising, or screening. So
What's your total number of employees, do you know?
291.5.
A half a person.
A part-timer.
Working.
We
Part-time.
have 2 half-time people. One is a half-time, well, we have 3.
Must be
We
great.
have 3. We have 2 half-time attorneys and 1 half-time paralegal. That's where that is at this point. And a lot of this turnover really is promotions. You can see promoted. So a lot of these are promotions, so that's great.
Hey, good job.
And the last thing I want to comment on is, well, next to last thing, there is in your packet, some information about the Resilience movie will be shown on November the 19th at 8 p.m. It's trying to get to 2 places at once. And then there will be a statewide Twitter town hall. That is above my knowledge. I don't Twitter. But that will be going on, and Resilience is that is a wonderful movie. If you have not seen it, it really puts trauma in focus for you and tells you how trauma can impact the lives of all of us. So that will be a wonderful thing if you get a chance to take part in that, if you have not already seen it. And I've seen it 2 or 3 times, and it's still good to have that. The other thing is I have got for you and put at your place the suggested procedures for governing small boards. And so this, as you think about your retreat, perhaps, you might want to talk about how you want to govern yourselves, because if you remember at the Institute, we learned that we probably aren't following Robert's Rules of Order, so it's 700 and some pages, so probably not. So this is a good small board kind of a packet, and so take a look at this, and it might give us some ideas about, if you want to go there, about how we might do that. I'm through, done.
Appreciate that. Good report, June.
Thank you.
So, yeah, we're running a little bit late here. So board member comments? Anybody have anything they'd like to comment on?
Yeah, since this is near the last end of the last meeting we'll have before Thanksgiving, I like to say to good-hearted people to embrace those people who are without proper shelter, clothing, and food. It seems to me that cold weather is on its way a little early this year, and we need to do the good thing and be the good Samaritan by reaching out and helping those who are in need of the basic things for their life as it relates to their household and families. Have a good Thanksgiving, and by all means, be safe and good to your neighbors.
Thank you for those comments. Very appropriate. So if there's no others, could I have a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Second? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
no, I'm ready to go.